Hello guys, I have some updates for you. Let's start. There are now 4 new duplicants in the game. We have Pei, Amari, Quinn and Steve. By the way, I had to spawn in 300 duplicants just to get a single Steve. And we got this new duplicants in addition to all the other ones that we already have. There's a new stress reaction called Banshee and a new overjoyed response called Yodeler. Here we have an overjoyed Yodeler dupe. Yodeling gives +8 machinery, construction and strength. Dupes that actively listened to the Yodeler will get the Serenaded buff, meaning +5 to machinery, construction and strength. Like Trovaldo here. And yes, we got this again. Here we can see the new stress reaction of a dupe Wailing, which apparently has a very big radius and leaves the other dupes with a debuff of Disturbed by Wailing of +10 stress per cycle for half a cycle. There's a new Critomorph. Regular pips now have a 2% chance of laying a cuddle pip egg. Pips are now also able to eat thimbleweed, and if they do, the chance for cuddle pip rises. Once you hatch the cuddle pip egg, you can get a tiny little cuddle pip squeak and the adult version of the cuddle pip. Cuddle pips are freaking adorable and they will hop around hoping for a duplicant to come by and cuddle it, i.e. give it a hug. And if that finally happens, 2 things will follow up. First, the duplicant that hugged the cuddle pip will get a 5% stress reduction for half a cycle. And second, the cuddle pip will go into a hugging frenzy, meaning it hugs more eggs than it would usually do. A hugged egg is considered cuddled and gets a +5% incubation bonus per cycle, which compared to the +20% incubation rate per cycle of the incubator is not really that much, but it is totally free of energy. And look at it. It also seems that the cuddle pip is able to hug the incubator as well. And if you are such a monster to kill one of your cuddle pips, first, I hate you already, and second, it will give you a certain amount of meat, 1600 calories to be exact. You are now able to level up the ranching skill by grooming critter, wrangling them, shearing them, and of course hugging eggs as always. Their wrangling speed also is faster the higher the husbandry level. Speaking about shearing a critter, there is now finally an animation for that. Dracos and Glossy Dracos now consume significantly less plant growth per cycle. 0.8 units per cycle for the regular Draco and 1 unit for the Glossy Draco. You now can copy incubator settings. And the errand that Ellie is currently doing now belongs to both ranching or supplying. The second critter that has been added is the Delectavole egg, pup and the adult version. They eat Regulus, dirt and iron ore. They only really consume half of what they are eating and the rest will be excreted in form of a natural tile. Use cases for the Delectavole could be the following. Shearing it to get the tonic root that is growing on its back. You will get 8 of them and they cannot spoil. Tonic roots alone are pretty useless since they don't have a calorie value. But if you combine them in a gas range together with nosh beans, you can create curried beans, which gives you 5000 calories for just using 4 tonic roots and 4 nosh beans. The quality is great and gives the duplicants the bonus of +3 athletics, +3 strength, sneeziness +1 and +5 stress per cycle because it's just so super hot. Speaking of sneeziness, the performance of sneezes and snores has been improved. In difference to the tonic roots, curried beans have a spoil time of 16 cycles. A second use case for the Delectavole could be butchering it for its meat. So in addition to the 8 tonic roots, you will get 8000 calories compared to the 16,000 you get from a regular Shavole. Delectavoles can become a picky eater, which is funny because they only eat food in the temperature range of 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. The effect being the quill growth slowing down. The nosh beans that we need for the curry are now finally classified as cooking ingredients and can be stored in the refrigerator. The food recipes now also list the attribute modifiers in the food product effect tooltip, meaning if you hover over soul food, you will get told which bonuses you get. And the gas range's CO2 cell output has been moved 1 cell down. Sushi no longer is in the game. Cooked fish now also has been renamed to cooked seafood. And the artwork has been revisited. The reason that it has been renamed to cooked seafood is that we now have raw shellfish. And that raw shellfish can be cooked to cooked seafood as well. The artwork for Surf and Turf has been revisited as well. Surf and Turf now looks like this. So why the certain change in seafood politics? Easy, we now have the Sani shell that once butchered will drop 4000 kilocalories of raw shellfish. So how do we get these new critters? Regular poke shells now can lay eggs for different poke shell variants. If they are in salt water, they have a 0% chance for any other egg. So you need to place them according to their liquid requirements, which is clear water for the Sani shell and ethanol for the oak shell. The poke shell is in clear water for long enough, the chance of laying a Sani shell egg will rise. If a poke shell is in ethanol for long enough, the chance of laying an oak pinch row egg rises as well. Starting with the Sani pinch row to the left, if hatched you will get the Sani shell spawn and the Sani shell. In comparison to the regular poke shell, they are also able to eat slime. Sani shells have the additional feature that they can get rid of almost any germs in any liquids. For example, if you have polluted water with 20,000 germs, let's take a look at it, and gone. Whoa, that was faster than I expected it to be. Let's check how good this works for zombie spores. And they are already gone. Let's do the same thing with nuclear waste and 20,000 radioactive contaminants. The contaminants drop slightly while the Sani shell does nothing, but once it starts, they drop into thousands, until they are quickly done with the process. The sanitizing range of the Sani shells seems to be 2 tiled or 3 if it stands in the middle. By the way, they react like every other poke shell. If you drop an egg in their near vicinity, they get angry, but they still keep sanitizing your water. And as you have seen, Sani shells do not drop any molds at all. The last new critter comes from the oak pinch row. An oak shell pinch row grows up to be an oak shell spawn and an oak shell. When an oak shell spawn grows up to be an oak shell, or if you harvest a grown up oak shell, they will drop their molds. A 50 kilogram mold for the spawn and a 500 kilogram mold from the grown up oak shell. Oak shell molds can be collected and then crushed into lumber, and that at a 1:1 ratio. The small mold will give you 50 kg of lumber, whereas the large one will give you 500 kg. Oak shells can also eat polluted dirt, rot pile and slime, like the Sani shells, but they will only excrete half the sand. Poke shells now also consume 50% less mass of polluted dirt or rot pile per cycle. There are now new idle animations on the printing pod screen. And the starting screen, of course. Look at this one. These ones are also definitely new. They seem to be fitting to the trait they represent. Animal lover, as you can see Hassan here, buff Bubbles, and mole hands Harold. 2 new artwork variations have been added to the master tier of the blank canvas. As you can see here and here. There's now also the Clothing Refashionator building. The Clothing Refashionator adds a lot of new outfits. Each of those will take 3 reed fiber and 1 snazzy suit to be produced. You even do have a tiny preview where you can look how it suits your dupes. Once the suits are finished, they drop on the floor and one of your duplicants can put them on. And fitting to all of the duplicants' outfits, the skill screen portrays them correctly in the top left corner, depending on what they are wearing. Right-clicking in the skill tab finally brings you back to your game. Also Clay, here's a bug report. I don't really want to put any suit on deceased duplicants. I currently have 11 duplicants, not hundreds. Those are here. I don't want to put suits on them, so yeah. And while a regular snazzy suit will give plus 30 decor, the newly crafted, upgraded snazzy suits will give a decor bonus of 40, while having the same insulation thickness. The arcade cabinet finally got a buff, with now a moral boost of plus 3, stress reduction increase to minus 15% per cycle, and a reduced heat generation by 50%. Steam Deck compatibility has also been verified. The copy building button now also remains visible even after the building that you try to copy is gone. Super useful. Duplicants have always been able to jump across a gap and traverse 1 tile of height. Now they are also able to get back down again. That wasn't possible before. And the same goes for rovers. Neutronium digging commands are now also automatically cancelled, which can be a real time saver sometimes. But they fixed an exploit where super productive duplicants could instantly dig up neutronium. Also, since the dig commands are cancelled, this isn't helping. And now a thing that is DLC only, they reduced the cost for the Steam engine. It now also accepts any refined metals. This does not affect the base game Steam engine. The clear launch path condition no longer requires the adjacent tiles of the Spacefarer modules to be clear, re-enabling us to do the following shenanigans. Slowly carving away from the neutronium and the planet. And you can do that with each rocket start. Sadly, not the landing though. Artifact analysis errands now belong to both researching and decorating errand group. The botanical analyzer errand now belongs to both researching and farming errands. They fixed an exploit where saving and loading during the printing of a care package would duplicate the item. They claim to have fixed an issue where duplicants could become entombed in floor tiles if multiple duplicants built the tiles in the same area. Well, Lyra would like to disagree here. They fixed an issue where geysers sometimes would freeze their output. But I think they mean volcanoes, because I had that issue once. Enabling the proximity no longer disables the overjoyed responses. I didn't know that was the case at all. The polymer press output cell is now consistent regarding of the orientation of the building. Meaning that blocking the output cell when orientated to the right will no longer drop the plastic on the other side of the wall, rendering my polymer press exploit useless. They insulated the glass forge output storage to prevent extreme temperatures. Parkus no longer get stuck in mixed liquids, and gulpfish no longer should entomb themselves while creating ice. Interesting side note, Parku, gulpfish and so on can eat hydrocactus, even though they aren't implemented in the game yet. They fixed an issue where glum critters sometimes didn't get groomed. The fish release counter is now working correctly. This should show us two critter, the cuttlepip and the pokeshell. Plug slugs no longer generate an overheat warning at night and no longer leave invisible generators behind. Beeters no longer can harvest uranium ore from airlock doors. Flying critters no longer get stuck in liquid. If they would get stuck, they just move to the side. But they still won't traverse it on their own, meaning shine bug traps and so on still work. They also fixed flopping Parku not being overcrowded. The fish feeder has been fixed and does no longer remove double amount from the storage. Parku are also no longer infinitely falling. They now also correctly flop towards water even if off screen. Grazing critters like Dracos and Pips now correctly gain calories proportional to plant growth consumed, instead of maxing out their stomach after a single nibble. They fixed the crash that could occur if a duplicant died while peeing. This is so good. The height of the loaders and unloaders for rockets has been fixed to match the artwork. And lots of optimization. For that I have opened my Let's Play game for you. I clicked every planetoid to open them and most of the modules here. Normally my RAM usage is at 10 to 12 gigabytes then, but now it is only at 8. You can even see how fluent the game is when switching through the overlays. Normally this is a real pain, but now it doesn't even stutter that much. Very nice. There should be optimizations when hovering over the UI, but I can see a bug right here and now. The build menu should also be more fluent and less laggy. By the way, let's test this. Yes, bug still works. The resource screen performance has also been improved. The loading game screen also has been significantly sped up. Oh yeah, definitely. Super nice. Loading itself, not so much. Leave a like for the cuttlepips and if I should keep doing those update videos. My name is Luma and if you haven't already, go and check out that video on the screen right now. I would also be happy if you subscribe and press the bell icon and so on.